It's 12 noon in London, 7 a.m. in Philadelphia, and around the world it's time for...
It's the Andy Snowden Radio Show. It's the Andy Snowden Radio Show. It's the Andy Snowden Radio Show. It's the Andy Snowden Radio Show.
Right then, so 2 years ago now, back in 2016, we were bracing ourselves for the European Cup. Ooh, it doesn't seem like yesterday, does it? And that tournament included Wales, of course, who went on to have a fantastic tournament, reaching the semi-finals, only losing out to Portugal. Ooh, gutted. But anyway, fast forward 2 years, and with just 5 days to go now until the World Cup starts, I'm pleased to welcome back to the studio two of Wrexham's finest pundits. Firstly, we have one of Wrexham FC's most popular bloggers, always first with any dealings at the racecourse ground. That's Craig Jones, and the recently appointed Deputy Mayor of Wrexham, Mr. Rob Walsh. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Andy. Pleasure to be here.
Good afternoon, Andy.
Here they are, fantastic. I had a message actually, Craig, from your sister. That's the beautiful Emma, of course, and
right.
She's asking your dad, Steve, would like to know exactly when you became an expert in football. When did this happen?
Well, I think I've learned everything I've learned I've got from him, so that definitely doesn't make me an expert. But yeah, I like to call myself that, but I know no more than the next man, really, but I just pretend to.
Well, what you know more than me. There you go, Emma. There's your answer. Anyway, let's start off by saying congratulations to you, young man. This is Rob Walsh. He is the Deputy Mayor of Wrexham. That's amazing.
Oh, it is. I'm very, very honoured, and I'm very, very grateful to my fellow councillors for electing me a couple of weeks ago. And the plan is just to serve the people of Wrexham the best I can. And this is actually my first engagement as Deputy Mayor on the topic of the World Cup. So a little bit different, but proper engagements start Monday. So I'm looking forward to it.
And what will that be? Or are you allowed to say?
Oh no, the first engagement on Monday. I'll be going to the Over 50s Forum at Capel Grove, so I'm really looking forward to that.
Right.
And really looking forward to meeting all the people.
But that's
involved.
nearly us now, isn't it? That sounds like old people.
No, speak for yourself. Definitely not me. Definitely not me. Yeah, and Tuesday I'm going to the Wrexham Carers Week, so I'll be visiting that and seeing what they're up to. So we've got plenty of other engagements. Another engagement which I know is close to all our hearts will be on the 23rd of June, where I'll be appearing at the Johnny Ratcliffe Memorial Family Fun Day, the 10th anniversary. So I'm very honoured to have been invited in my official capacity to that event, and tributes to everyone who's organised it. It's an amazing event which they've put on, and it's going to be a great day, and it's going to be a great memorial to Johnny.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, I'll be there as well. I'm going to that. Are you going to that as well?
I am there as well, yeah.
Oh, fantastic. We'll have a drink, lads.
We will indeed.
Yeah, marvellous.
And there's some matches on as well.
Well, I introduced you as well, Craig, as the when you sort of blog about Wrexham FC on Facebook and Twitter and all the rest of it. It's always brilliant. It's always hilarious. Always up to date. Get us up to date with Wrexham. I know we had a bit of, at the end of the season was a little bit of a drama, but quite a good season otherwise.
Yeah, it was a bit of a disappointing end after the manager Dean Keats left for Sonny Walsall.
Yeah.
Yeah, because things were going well, but it just ended really badly. But I think we seem destined to stay in that division for forever, it feels like at the moment.
Yeah.
I think every season people say, oh, it'll be our year next year, but they've been saying that for 11 years.
Well, as a Liverpool fan, we've been saying that for a long time as well. So do you pin it down to Keats leaving, do you?
Well,
it did seem to go pear-shaped after that.
It did. I think that it was a big factor in it going a bit pear-shaped. But I think the new manager they got in, Sam Ricketts.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a surprise choice. It's his first managerial job, but I think Wrexham have tried everything, getting managers with experience, some who were, new to it, and no, he seems to be, the vibes are quite positive, and I just think it's all about getting, 2 or 3 decent players in, and hopefully go for it. I'm sort of glad Tranmere got promoted and are out the way, because I think that they would have been one of the strong teams next season.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to wait and see. It's a very, very hard league to get out of, and but hopefully, we can at least reach the playoffs this year anyway.
So is it a case of, if you get out of this league, then hopefully bigger and better players, for want of a better word, no disrespect to the ones who are here, they'll want to come and play for Wrexham again? No one's going to want to come and play in the, whatever they call it now, the Conference League. That's
the problem. It is difficult getting a very good standard of player. But I think with promotion, because the size of the club and the fan base is there, Wrexham's attendances are much bigger than a lot of League 2 and League 1 clubs.
Yeah.
I think it should be a league club, really, but you've got to sort of earn it on merit and get there. So just hope this forthcoming season can be the one, but I say that every year.
Yeah. Anyway, onwards and upwards, as they say. And Thursday night, the World Cup starts. I say Thursday night. We were just saying before we came on there that kicks off at 4:00 in the afternoon on Thursday. It's a bit of a wet.
Yeah, I think that's
squib,
more to do with timings in Russia itself, because Russia, the opening match, Russia versus Saudi Arabia, so it'll be 6 p.m. in Moscow. So it's probably more suitable for the Russian audience there. But it's happened in the past. I remember back in Italia '90, it was 4:00 kickoff, but that was on a Friday for Argentina Cameroon. And so there has been some history of this, but of course it's always going to be better for us to have the matches a little bit later on in the evening, not too late in the evening, because I remember I did suffer from a lot of sleep deprivation during the last World Cup because some of the matches being so late. But I've noticed some of the fixtures have been catered for the audiences in those specific countries. For example, on Saturday, we've got an 11 a.m. kickoff in Britain for France-Australia, clearly playing to the Australian audience. So it'll be something like 9 p.m. on a Saturday night, so that'll be perfect for the Australian audience there.
Well, that is good. That sounds like that's been done intentionally.
Yeah,
then.
I think so, yes.
All right, I like that. Yeah, like that. So, I mean, as you're our, you can be our political figure today. Do you think politically it's a good move to have it in Russia, but bearing in mind the dramas?
Well, I think that historically World Cups have been in countries which have been a little bit suspect. For example, Argentina '78 was a very controversial World Cup because Argentina run by the military junta at the time. Maybe with hindsight, maybe Russia wasn't the best location, but they were awarded it, and I think we've just got to get on with it. And really, we've got to put politics aside here, because this is a sporting event, and this is one event where the world, whatever differences countries may have, can come together and enjoy a brilliant sporting event. But if you get me onto Qatar 2022, that's a different subject. I won't be so diplomatic about that.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's something weird's gone on there, given it. Qatar, it just, I don't know.
Well, it's not just the weirdness. I would have no issue with having it in Qatar, but to have it in November, December, it makes me shiver to think.
Are they definitely doing that?
I see it's looking that way, but who knows what might happen. But I think in FIFA, nobody's got the guts to do anything about it, so I suspect that's what will happen.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think the awards to both Russia and Qatar were very suspect. I think
when it was announced, I thought, dodgy. It's got to be dodgy. And then about a year later, everyone went, we thought it was a bit dodgy. And I thought, well, I thought that. I don't know anything.
It definitely was, especially the Qatar one. This is a country that's the size of North Wales. They've never even been in the World Cup, but
or have any stadiums.
They don't have any stadiums. But hopefully the new regime at FIFA, things will be a bit fairer.
Yeah. Anyway, this year, 8 groups, A through to H, and we'll have a little listen to... hang on a minute. Do you know this song? It's called Cops and Robbers from the Hoosiers.
Oh yeah, I know. I
You know
the
this?
Hoosiers,
No,
I
I'm
know
looking
the
forward to
Hoosiers
hearing it.
lady.
Talking of FIFA. But of course, Robbers, after this, we'll have a look at Group A, girls and boys. Group A, don't go anywhere. Great track. The Hoosiers, Cops and Robbers. And a good afternoon to George Jones over there in Corfu, enjoying the weather, enjoying the sun, I hope. Stay off the booze, son.
Uniting our community on 105 FM, Calon FM.
Well, our tactics have always been to equalise before the other team scored. I think they scored first and then we equalised, but we equalised the second time before they scored.
Between Gamble. Good play by Gamble, and again, 3-1! A brilliant individual goal by this hard little professional has put Scotland in dreamland.
And here comes Hurst. He's got some people are on the pitch. They think it's all over. It is now. It's four.
And here's another Owen run. He's going to worry them again. It's a great run by Michael Owen, and he might finish it off. Oh, it's a wonderful goal! What an amazing moment in Michael Owen's show.
Rivellino, and it's Pelé. He's got it. Pelé has scored, and that is Brazil's 100th goal in the World Cup.
Thomas Berthold there. Big Gascoigne. Oh, and the Brazilian referee's coming towards him. It's going to be a yellow card for Paul Gascoigne.
And Anderson suddenly under pressure from Miller. Miller! Oh!
Chipped in.
And volleyed in! And it's there by David Platt! England have done it in the last minute of extra time!
And all the pressure now on Roberto Baggio, who has to score. The man who really has brought the team to the final now has to save them. And it's over the top. Brazil have won the World Cup.
A red card for David Beckham. What an awful time to receive a red card.
Lineker checking back when he might have gone straight on. Trevor Steven is unmarked. Gary Stevens coming up on the right. 4 in the area. Lineker!
So a little bit of a look back there, and later on we're gonna have a little look back at our favourite moments. We've all chosen our favourite moments from the World Cup's gone by, and you can as well. Get in contact with me, Andy Snowden at Calon FM Stage and Screen on the old Facebook. That's how you do it. That's how it's done. Andy Snowden at Calon FM Stage and Screen, and today we are looking forward, a little preview to this year's World Cup. I am with football genius Craig Jones and the Deputy Mayor of Wrexham. Am I going to have to call you the Deputy Mayor of Wrexham all the way through the show?
If you want.
I will.
Yes.
I will.
Please do.
Ooh, I will.
Yeah,
Just
you can just call me Rob.
Just to please your mum. Yeah.
I'll answer to both.
Lord Robert.
No, not in the House of Lords. No.
Yeah, that's for Rob Walsh as well. All right, fantastic. So any questions you've got for the lads, get them in. And I'd like to just start off by asking you this, Rob. This is from Gareth Lewis, and he's asked, could you just ask the Deputy Mayor if Robert Fleck played for Norwich and Scotland as well? Do you know anything about that?
God, he's been on the whiskey early, hasn't he? He did, yeah. I remember Robert Fleck played for Norwich in the 90s. He played in Italia 90. I seem to remember he had a cracking game when Scotland beat Sweden 2-1. Yes, so yeah, I do remember him very well. So thank you, Gareth, for that question.
There you go. Well done, Gareth. I think there's someone's winding somebody up here. Anyway, this Thursday, girls and boys, this Thursday at 4 p.m. on, we're going to have the World Cup kickoff. And here you go, Group A then, chaps. Tell me about this one. Russia, Saudi Arabia, Egypt and Uruguay. Sounds interesting.
Yeah, no, I think it's a cracking group. This probably not cracking in terms of quality, but very, very interesting here. Russia are the host; they're the seeded team. On paper, according to FIFA rankings, they are the worst team of the 32. So you'd think that under normal circumstances, they would go out.
Yeah.
Having said that, I do feel there are big question marks over the 3 other teams. So I think with home advantage, Russia could top this group because Uruguay, brilliant front line with Suarez and Cavani. But last World Cup, I thought they were very, very poor. Very, very lucky to get as far as they did. Very lucky to beat England. It wasn't for just a couple of moments of genius there from their front two.
Yeah.
So Uruguay, I think they'll go through with Russia, but I think that there could be a few tight games here. Saudi Arabia. But if you remember back to USA 94, Saudi Arabia were the surprise package and did exceptionally well. But I can't see them competing in this group, and I think that they'll definitely finish last. The interesting team in the group are Egypt. I don't think, on the whole, Egypt have much quality, but they have one ace in the pack, and that is Mohamed Salah.
Yeah.
And if he is fit, and not just fit, but if he can reproduce the form he's produced for Liverpool all season, then Egypt could really shake this group up. So I think it's between the top 3, but I am confident Russia can top the group. But you can never discount Uruguay, again, because they're front line, and Egypt because of Salah. So I would say Russia and Uruguay for me to progress.
Right, okay. Craig?
Yeah, I agree mostly with what Rob said. I think Uruguay probably the standout team in the group. I actually expect them to top it. It will. I think Egypt's hopes are going to be pinned on whether Mo Salah is fit. I think he's probably been, one of the best players in the world last season, if not the best player. And I hate saying that with him being from Liverpool. But I just think, I'm going to say this. I hope Vladimir Putin's not listening, but. Russia will find a way somehow of getting out of the group. I think I'm not saying there'll be any fixing with match officials or anything, but I've got a feeling some of the refereeing might feel pressured into making decisions in a stadium full of Russian fans, and we have of course got the dreaded VAR system for the first time in a World Cup. And
explain what that is again.
The VAR where they go to the official who looks on a video.
Oh right,
video refereeing.
Oh, I thought they were banning. They're getting rid of all that.
No, I really don't like it at all. I think you should just let the referee.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people say, "Oh, we should have this to make decisions right." As a football fan, I actually like some decisions being wrong, so you can actually argue over them. I think if everything was exactly right, it'd become a bit boring to talk about. That's just my view.
Yeah. It kind of evens itself out as well.
It does, definitely.
Because a good decision for you is a bad decision later on.
Exactly.
And vice versa.
So I've just got this feeling Russia might get a few of those video referee decisions in their favour.
Yeah.
To somehow sneak through.
Yeah.
But I think Uruguay have definitely got the strongest team. It'd be good to see. We could have Suarez against Salah in the first game, Egypt v Uruguay. That could be quite interesting. But I think it'll be. I think Uruguay and Russia for me. And I don't rate Saudi Arabia at all.
No.
I don't think they'll cause a surprise.
Okay, so we both agree, do we? That
yeah.
Russia and Uruguay to go through to the next round. All right, fair enough. Well, I'll look at Group B as well. While we're here, Portugal, Spain, Morocco, and what's it? Iran.
Yes, they are. Iran seems to be quite regular to the World Cup actually. They always seem to qualify, and they don't do too bad overall, but never good enough. I don't think they've ever qualified for the knockout stages, or they might have once. But I think just looking at this, the big two teams, obviously on paper, we've got Portugal and Spain, the two big rivals. Obviously Portugal were the surprise European champions 2 years ago. When perhaps no one expected them to. And Spain obviously recently have won the World Cup back in 2010.
Yeah.
I think those two teams it really, you would be surprised if they didn't go through.
Yeah.
But I've got actually a funny feeling Morocco might actually do well in this group, but maybe not good enough. I'm not confident enough to say that they could finish ahead of those two. So it's good actually. The very first game in that group on the Friday night is Portugal v Spain, so I think that's probably one of the biggest group games. But I think Spain are very strong. Portugal have got some good players, apart from the obvious in Ronaldo.
Yeah.
They've also got that Bernardo Silva, who's played quite well for Man City this season. Without, I think it is a bit stating the obvious, but I think Spain and Portugal, should go through.
I think you're probably right. He's right, and he's got to be. Do you agree?
I more or less agree. The only thing I would say is I think Portugal-Spain has potential to be a cracking match. I'm really looking forward to that next Friday night prime time, 7 p.m. But I just hope both sides go for it. My biggest fear with this match is that it could, both sides think, first game of the group, let's play it cagey, and it's a boring 0-0.
Yeah.
And that's my concern about the group as a whole, because Morocco, for me, are the best African side. They can push Portugal and Spain very hard in this group, but Iran are no mugs either. Okay, they haven't got a lot going forward, but they are a very tight defensive unit, and they're going to frustrate all three of these teams, because I do think that Morocco-Iran on Saturday is going to have 0-0 written all over it. So it's not inconceivable every match of this group could end up 0-0. But in terms of overall quality, I think Portugal and Spain will go through. But I do think Portugal are the stronger of the two sides. Now, play for player, Spain should be, but Spain have been on the decline now for the past 4 years. And just because they've had a change of manager, I cannot see them all of a sudden having this spark which makes them a major player again. The draw could open up for them nicely later on, but for me, Spain have been on the decline, and I just cannot see how that can be overturned. And I think Portugal, possibly lucky to win 2 years ago, but I do think they are at the more settled unit. So for me, Portugal to win the group, and Spain's come second. But Morocco could cause a surprise and finish and qualify for the next round. And Iran, can't see them getting through, but they will frustrate the other three sides.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Portugal in the European Cup in 2016, I actually fancied Wales to beat them, because they didn't have a good tournament at all, did they?
No.
I mean, they barely scored.
No, it took a while to get
play.
Go. No, they were very poor, Portugal, but everything just seemed to go right for them. They were very lucky to qualify for the last 16. They were very lucky to get past Croatia. They probably deserved to get past Poland, but by the time they played Wales, I thought Wales would win, but Portugal actually played very well that day, and they probably deservedly won that match, because I think that Wales had exhausted themselves after that Belgium tie.
Yeah.
But when they came to the final against a very strong French side, and France just couldn't score, but Portugal did, and they're the champions. So it was an odd. It was an odd final result 2 years ago, but I do feel that that tournament win has given Portugal confidence. I do think they're a stronger side now than they were 2 years ago. So I think that's for me they're the team to beat in Group B.
Right, marvellous. Right, I'll hold it there and then. But I was going to say to you, actually, I've got footage of that the Wales-Belgium match. We'll play it straight after we've heard this song here. Now, listen, there's no official World Cup song as we know of.
No.
I heard Freddie Flintoff's done something with one of the guys from Kaiser Chiefs. It doesn't sound brilliant. It's actually it's a bit of a mashup of Rasputin from Boney M.
Oh, lovely! I actually like that song.
So I think you can see it on YouTube if you go out there. But I heard this when Sport Relief was on, and I quite liked it. If I'm honest with you, it's a bit of an odd one. It's Mel C and John Bishop. Have you heard it?
No.
All right, get a load of this. Merry World Cup.
No three lines.
Yeah, it's no three lines. What do you think, lads, before we crack on? What do you think of that?
I've heard better.
Yes, the less I say about it, the better. But apart from that,
All
excellent.
Right. Okay, marvellous. There you go. That's the end of that then. It's called Merry World Cup, Mel C and John Bishop. That was actually for Sport Relief 2018.
It's the Andy Snowden Radio Show. It's the Andy Snowden Radio Show. It's the Andy Snowden Radio Show. It's the Andy Snowden Radio Show.
Feeling better on the lead.
Nangalan, a little bit of room, and he took the shot and he scores magnificently. Ramsey's corner, Williams! Ashley Williams for Wales! The captain heads home the equaliser! Dinked in towards Robson, Carney, Taylor's available, what a turn! What a goal! What a goal from Hal Robson Carney! In towards Vokes! Wales are heading into the semi-final of the European Championship. They've taken on Belgium and they have surely beaten them. Another late goal, another substitute.
So there you go. There's a little look back at Wales against Belgium 2016. Right, lads. 2016's European Cup, it was like a summer of love, wasn't it? It was especially for the Wales fans.
Mm-hmm. It was,
but that match in particular.
No, that was fantastic. Like that, yeah. It's a shame from a personal point of view that Wales didn't make it to the World Cup. I think it's 60 years since they were last there, because it really, it brought, especially being in Wrexham, it sort of brought the town together, and I think it was just fantastic. Some memorable nights watching Wales play. I was really confident they'd actually qualify for this World Cup. But,
yeah, I was. I think everybody was.
But it was a shame. It was a group they should have got out of, really. But it would have been, it would have been really good looking forward to them. Being in a World Cup, because it's been so long since they've played in one. But no, we'll have to try for the Qatar one now, hopefully. Or obviously there is before that there's the qualifications for the Euros in 2020, which really they've probably got a better chance of qualifying for the Euros again. So we'll see. It's not to be though.
Yeah, no.
But
that's football, as you say, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's one of them things. Did you didn't look like you were that overly enthralled by it.
I was, particularly the Wales versus Belgium match, one of the best matches I've ever seen, and I still think of Robson Canley's goal. I just got if he could do that every match, he wouldn't have been playing for West Brom. He'd been playing for Barcelona or Real Madrid, because that was awesome. That was that turn, and as I said 2 years ago, if Messi or Ronaldo had done that, they'd be talking about that for years. But no, I think that was a cracking match, and what Craig said was absolutely true. It really did bring particularly Wrexham together, and it's a shame that Wales aren't here now. They should have been. I just think they drew too many of their matches early on in qualification. I thought, we'll be fine, but time ran out. But I'd be very confident they'd qualify for the next Euro, so hopefully we'll have another great Welsh adventure in 2 years' time. I
hope so, because that's the Euros with no host, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's a bit different, because there'll be just various host cities. I think something like 12 cities have been chosen. But the way they've paired them together for groups is baffling, to say the least. But we can discuss that in 2 years' time.
But I mean, just that match in particular, the Belgium match against Wales, it was almost like a nightmare, because I couldn't scream loud enough. Do you know what I mean? It was that I was that excited. And I was like screaming, but it was almost like I couldn't get it out. How happy I was. Anyway, this is now, innit? Anyway, Group C we're up to, gents. France, Australia, Peru, and Denmark. Any thoughts?
Oh yes. Well, for me, this group is a cert for France. France will win this group. There's no two ways about it. An awesome side. Very impressed with them when they hosted the Euros 2 years ago, and how they didn't win is still beyond me, because a team packed with such talent. I think that Mr. Griezmann is probably got to be favourite to win the Golden Boot, and obviously they're going to have tougher matches later on, but I think compared to the other three, this should be a walkover for France, and if they don't win the group, then it'll be a massive, massive shock. With regard to the teams, I'll just mention Australia. Australia, for me, are the worst side of the 32. No, the thing is, I've been a big fan of Australia's in past World Cups. I think in 2006, they're a very, very good side, and I were very, very unlucky to go out in the last 16 to eventual winners, Italy. And they had a great spine of players back then, with the likes of Harry Kewell, Mark Viduka, Tim Cahill. Tim Cahill's actually still in the squad for this, so it shows how desperate they are after all this time.
Isn't he about 44 now?
Probably, yeah, probably older. But I can't see Australia going to get battered in every match. The key battle in this group is going to be between Denmark and Peru. Denmark are I think they're a side who've gone a bit quiet in recent years, but I do think they're on the up again now. And obviously with Christian Eriksen, that they do look a very threatening side. Peru, a side I don't really know a lot about. I don't think they have a lot of quality, but I think that's what they lack in quality, they make up for in team spirit. And I do feel, wouldn't surprise me if Peru beat Denmark and came second in that group, but I'm going to have to lean towards Denmark there. So I suspect France and Denmark to qualify there. France easily, Denmark just ahead of Peru, with Australia lasting with 0 points.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree with virtually what Rob said. In terms of, I think France will comfortably win this group. I think they've been handed a very, very nice draw, and yeah, they've got enough quality. They've left some good players at home. Benzema and Martial of Man United aren't even in the squad, and I was just looking at their squad earlier. They've got some especially forward players. They look as if they're going to be very strong in this World Cup. I was a bit upset because Rob actually used to live in Australia, so his damning verdict on his old
very long
countrymen.
Time ago, that.
Yeah, but you're still there. I would have expected a bit more loyalty towards them, Rob. But
is that true?
It's a long, long time ago.
What do you mean? How old are you?
Oh, I was over there briefly, so like 5, 6, 7 age. It was a long, long time ago, though. I hardly remember it.
You've still got the twang.
Oh yeah, I can. Everyone tells me that.
So it's like having Kylie Minogue in the room.
But as I myself have never lived in Australia, I am okay to say that I do think they'll be one of the worst sides in the tournament.
Yeah.
I think they'll be lucky to pick up a point in this group. Apart from Tim Cahill, there's not much quality there, and as I said, I am sure he's in his 40s now. I actually thought he'd retired. It will be interesting to see between Peru and Denmark, but Denmark for me could be one of the dark horses of the tournament. I actually think they'll do quite well. So I think Denmark could be one to watch out for. For Peru, I don't know a lot about them except for I like their kit. When you see it, it's a lovely white number with a red diagonal sash.
Have they still got that?
Yeah, yeah.
They've always had that.
It's one of like because they've been in the 70s, Rob, since they were last in the World Cup. Peru. It probably wasn't it? 78.
I'm trying to think. They didn't qualify. They played in 82.
Did they?
They were in 82.
Right.
They were in the same group as Italy.
It's been a long time since that kit has been on our screens, and yeah, I don't really know a lot about Peru, but so it'll be interesting to see how they get on, really. But for me, I'm going to go for France and Denmark. I'll stick with what I know.
Right. Okay. Right. Well, hold it then, chaps. We've got to go to the news in a mo. But anybody wants to get in contact with us, Andy Snowden at Calon FM Stage and Screen on the old Facebook. That's how you do it. Don't go anywhere.
It was nearly complete. It was nearly so sweet. And now I'm singing 3 lines on the shirt.
Community Radio on 105 FM and online. This is Calon FM. Uniting our community on 105 FM. Calon FM.
Brace yourself. It's Andy Snowden. Stage and stage and stage and screen. Stage and screen.
Go ahead. Make my day. Mrs. Robinson, you're trying to seduce me.
And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee.
You ever seen a grown man naked?
105 FM.
Here's Johnny.
Life is a box of chocolates, Forrest. You never know what you're gonna get.
Tell me about it, Stud.
I see dead people.
Stage and screen.
Where on earth are you from? We from England.
So welcome back to the second hour of the Stage and Screen Show with me, Andy Snowden, and today I am joined by Rob Walsh and Craig Jones, two of Wrexham's greatest comedic minds when it comes to the footy. And they're here. All for you, all for your benefit. That was Fat Les from 1998, Vindaloo. A little bit later on, we're going to have a discussion of our favourites and least favourites, more to the point, of the World Cup songs or any football songs that you can think of. If you've got one in mind that you want playing or talked about, get in contact with me, Andy Snowden at Calon FM Stage and Screen on the old Facebook. That's Andy Snowden at Calon FM Stage and Screen on the old Facebook. Next up, Group D.
105 FM.
Right then, gentlemen, Group D. If you haven't just joined us, by the way, we're having a little look through. We're having a preview of this year's World Cup matches. It all kicks off on Thursday the 14th of June. That's this Thursday. Ooh, gravy. I love the World Cup. It's just any big tournament like this, gents. It's just it makes me salivate.
Oh yeah, it's a highlight of it's every 4 years. Obviously, you've got the European Championship, which is great. You've got other sporting events throughout the year, but this is one of the pinnacles. It's held at such a wonderful time of year, the summer.
Yeah.
We always seem to have lovely weather for World Cup, so let's hope this is no different. So yeah, it's a joy to be alive during a World Cup.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
No, yeah, it is always something to look forward to. I hate when we have the odd numbered years when there's no football in the whole summer. It just seems to drag on and on until the league starts again in August. So this is something to definitely get excited about, and it's on for a whole month, which I like. With you've got 2 or 3 matches on every day,
yeah.
And as we said earlier, with you can even if you're not in the house, you've got plenty of things you can watch them on now. So.
But even rubbish matches.
Exactly, I still like those as well. Like, we've got, even ones we spoke about, like Morocco v Iran.
Yeah.
I almost look forward to those just as much as the big
matches.
matches.
They're just as important, because I think that. Well, I know we'll talk about England a bit later, but I do get very disappointed when people say, oh, they're only watched, particularly when there's a lot of hype running, we're only going to watch England matches. There's a whole raft of matches there which will bring you great enjoyment. Can I just also reveal, there was somebody put on Twitter a few weeks ago a brilliant tweet saying that this is his first World Cup with his girlfriend, and he's had to put up with watching Big Brother and Love Island, so now she's going to be forced to watch Morocco versus Iran, Japan v Senegal, and she will enjoy it. And she will. I don't know about Morocco v Iran, that could be painful, but yeah, she will enjoy it. So I'll say to all the ladies out there who are perhaps not looking forward to the World Cup, thinking their other halves are going to have football on for the whole month, I'm just saying, watch it and enjoy it. You'll be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, because I even, strangely for me, I always even look forward to the singing of the national anthems before the kick-off, when the camera pans across the faces, and you've got those who are quite emotional, those who I think they can sing, but when the camera's right on their face, the sound of it can be hilarious at sometimes. And I just love the fact, because obviously the English national anthem, God Save the Queen, only lasts for about 20 seconds and that's it.
Yeah.
There's some of them where, I think they have to start the anthem about 15 minutes before kick-off. And it's ones where you think it's just stopped, and then another verse starts.
Yeah. Can I say the Brazil one's my favourite because it's got the longest instrumental going, and you think, oh, it's just instrumental, and then all of a sudden they just start singing all at once.
So even sort of things like that, and seeing all the new kits and that. Like, did you hear about the Nigerian kit this year?
I did, yeah.
It's become the fastest selling football shirt of all time, bizarrely. Why? The reason people just think it's a very, very nice shirt, and it got a lot of publicity, and basically Nike, who make the kit, have been unable to keep up with the orders. I think the pre-orders were like something stupid, like 3 million or something. So they're frantically trying to make some more. Just football fans from all over the world just think it looks a nice shirt to wear because it's a bit unusual, and it's almost going back to sort of an early 90s style.
Is it the green one?
Yes, the green one. Yeah, when they played England recently in the friendly. It's all right, but nothing to get too excited about.
I didn't think it was a fashion statement.
No, well, people just think it's this wonderful, people are wearing it on nights out and things. And,
didn't Kanye West say something about it? And that's
possibly. I know it did get a lot of publicity, but it's a bit bizarre. But no, it's all good for Nike and the Nigerian team anyway.
Yeah. But one technical thing before we have a look at Group D. The singing of the national anthems. And like now, I don't even know why they do it. The camera that pans across has got a microphone on it, so they're all out of tune. None of them can sing in tune.
Exactly.
But when you go to the match yourself and you're singing a song, and I'm a singer, so I'm really hypercritical of myself. Even I'm just singing a football song.
You turn to the next person and go, "Oh, you're in the wrong key."
I'm a bit pitchy. Can you? I hope you can't hear me. And I often wonder, like when the camera goes across now, that whether they're thinking, I'm just going to mime because I don't want anybody hearing me sing.
No,
they're footballers after all, aren't they? Unless you're going to sing like Pavarotti, you don't want to be heard, especially in that, because what you can hear as well coming out of the amp of the whatever is being playing the anthem isn't what you're going to sing. You could never sing it at that pitch because it's far too loud.
Yeah,
you just got to mumble it. I don't understand how the crowd always seem to be brilliantly in tune.
I know.
But if you're next to somebody or for yourself in your own ears, you sound awful.
That's it. It always makes me laugh though, where the crowd, as the anthem goes on, they gradually get 2 or 3 seconds ahead of the actual music we're hearing at home. So everyone's singing in different bits, and then when the camera is panning across the team, obviously it is all a bit disjointed, but I still like things like that. I've always looked forward to the anthems for some reason.
It's funny, isn't it? The things we like. And we'll do that as well a little bit later on. We'll have a little look back at all the our favourite moments. We've chosen our top moments, and I think you might be surprised by, these two. Mine's fairly obvious. But anyway, Group D, ladies and gentlemen. Argentina, Iceland, Croatia and Nigeria. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first for this one. I think obviously probably the standout team with lots of World Cup pedigree are Argentina. They've obviously got the likes of Messi and Aguero and lots of other star players, and their front line is very strong indeed. I think their defence might be a little bit suspect, but I think they probably are the strongest team in the group. I do think Argentina will win the group, but I don't think it'll be plain sailing.
No.
As for the other three, other three teams, I think it could be close between them. We've got Iceland, Nigeria and Croatia. I think any one of those three could actually qualify. I think it'd be, very, very close. I've actually gone for Iceland to go through. Obviously, they're remembered for beating England at the Euros last time, and even though they've got no real major star players, perhaps except for Gylfi Sigurdsson of Everton, they seem to have a good team ethic, and everyone seems to know what they're doing. And I think the population's only about 300,000, something like that. So for them to actually get to a World Cup's unbelievable. But I think they've got a good chance, and I'll predict they'll go through ahead of the other two with Argentina.
So Iceland and Argentina.
Yeah,
Argentina walking it by the sounds of it.
I think they'll be strong enough to win the group.
Yeah. I mean, you look at Argentina and you think, well, it's Argentina. It's like Brazil.
Yeah.
But you saw what happened to Brazil 4 years ago. Same for
Yeah,
you?
well, I've got massive concerns about Argentina. They only just qualified for this. And even though, if you look at them player for player, they're absolutely outstanding. But they could get themselves in trouble here. It's not inconceivable that Argentina might not get to the second round because of the strength which lies with a couple of these teams. But out of the 40s, I think Nigeria are the weakest. Nigeria have had some very good sides playing World Cups in recent years, but I don't think this is... Again, they've got some good players, but I just don't feel they've got that discipline, and I think that will cost them in this group. Out of others, Croatia are a very, very solid side, got a lot of talent, so I expect them to do very well. Iceland... They've been an unbelievable story. What they did 2 years ago was fantastic, and even qualifying in what was a tricky qualifying group, you can never write them off. They're all heart, and if the World Cup was won on effort alone, Iceland would be favourites to win it. So it's going to be a very, very tight group, but I'm going to have to go with the quality and experience, and I think experience will count for a lot. So my prediction is, and it's not a strong prediction, this, I do think it's a bit of a group of death. I do think Argentina will probably top it, narrowly from Croatia. Iceland will probably just miss out, but only just, but it wouldn't surprise me if Iceland do qualify for the next round. So I will cautiously predict Argentina-Croatia to go through.
Ooh, now.
Interesting. I did actually. I forgot to say before. In the Icelandic squad, only one of the 23. His surname doesn't end in son. His name's Frederick Schramm. I thought I'd give him a mention because I feel a bit sorry for him. I think he might feel a bit isolated from the rest of the group.
Yeah.
I think he's their third choice keeper, which is embarrassing enough as it is. But he's going to be sitting around with all these sons, and he's just going to feel a bit different. So
I find him. He probably emigrated from Sweden or Denmark when he was a child.
Well, he may be, but I just hope he does feel part of the group, and
let's hope so.
It realises he's just as important as the second choice keeper, really.
Oh, fantastic. So there you go. That's Group D. Iceland, Croatia, Nigeria and Argentina. And it's a little bit of difference. Is that the first one you don't agree on? I think it is.
I think it is, yeah.
No, it
I
is,
think a little bit because I think we had Portugal and Spain the other way around, and possibly Russia and Uruguay. But yeah, that's certainly one. So we've differed in.
All right, marvellous. All right then, let's have a little break for 2 minutes, and we'll be back.
Uniting our community on 105 FM, Calon FM.
You're listening to the Andy Snowden Stage and Screen Radio Show, broadcasting around the world and in Rosa Medre.
You ever heard that? It's the German team from the 1994 World Cup featuring Village People. Craig's choice. Far away in America from the 1994 World Cup. So you're listening to the Stage and Screen Show with me, Andy Snowden, and today I am joined by Rob Walsh and Craig Jones, who are almost football genii. They are genius in anything that they know about footy, and especially international events that go on. And today we're talking about the World Cup. The World Cup coming up on Thursday. Just 5 more days, girls and boys. 5 more days until the whole thing kicks off. And can't wait, quite frankly. And also today as well, we're going to be hearing from Mr. Sex Pistols himself, the front man of The Pill, John Lydon. I talked to him last week. Oh, it was a belter.
Uniting our community on 105 FM, Calon FM.
So here we go. So as I say, we're having a little look at the group stages first of all, and we're up to Group E. And this one's a biggie. This has got Brazil, Switzerland, Costa Rica, and Serbia. Rob?
Yeah, notice the order you've listed those in. That's the order I think the group will finish in. It's going to be tight in some ways, but Brazil are going to walk this group. Brazil, awesome side. Again, packed full of quality. This is going to be no trouble for them whatsoever. So they'll win the group. Interesting for second, but I'm going to have to plump for Switzerland. I think Switzerland are a very well organised side, and I do feel that out of the three, they're the most likely to go through. A lot of people have been dismissing Costa Rica as being also rounds, but Costa Rica have a very good record in the World Cup. Quarter-finalists last time, and I know Costa Rica could push Switzerland a bit, so they would be the danger for me for Switzerland getting the second spot. I can't see Serbia qualifying. For me, Serbia shouldn't really be here. I don't know if I'm just it sounds a bit like sour grapes because they were in the same group as Wales, but I do feel the wrong side qualified from that group. Now, I'm not suggesting one moment Serbia will be whipping boys where they'll come away with nil points. They'll probably pick up a few points here and there, but I do feel they're the weakest side in this group. So Brazil and Switzerland for me.
Right.
Yeah, I disagree again with Rob on this one. Apart from his views on Brazil, I think it's a very, very nice group for Brazil. I think Brazil have always been the team who've traditionally sort of epitomised the World Cup. They've always been, ever since I was young, I've always loved watching Brazil play. And I would always with Wales not being in, they would always be my favourite games, really, the ones with Brazil in. I think they'll be very, very strong and will walk. They'll win this group at a canter, really. So
yeah.
They've got some very good players. Apart from, I think last time when they were hosting it, they were relying a lot on Neymar, and in the game he was injured. That's when they got hammered 7-1 by Germany. But I think they've got the likes of Coutinho, who's now at, used to be at Liverpool's, now at Barcelona. Gabriel Jesus of Manchester City, and Firmino of Liverpool.
Yeah.
So they've got a very, very good front line, but I also think they're strong defensively as well. For me, I think Brazil have got a better squad than they did when they hosted it 4 years ago. Out of the other three teams, Costa Rica actually did well in the last tournament. I think they topped the group when England had their disaster, but I don't think they'll be as strong this year. For me, Rob's gone for Switzerland. I've never really liked Switzerland as a country. I'm not sure why. I've never been there. They've never done anything to offend me, but I never really get excited about them or their players. But they're good enough to also qualify with Brazil. But I am actually going to go for Serbia. I think they've got some good players. They weren't. They topped the group that Wales were in to qualify. But I think they could be strong enough to go through as well, but it might be quite tight. So it's Brazil and Serbia for me.
Brazil and Serbia. Now, I completely agree with you. Obviously, Brazil, you sort of look at Brazil and just go, well, they've got... when you picture them, you've got them picturing a World Cup in their hands.
Yeah.
What do you think happened last time when they... it was a very bizarre event, wasn't it? A, to lose like they lost, and B, in their own country.
I just think what happened last time. I remember all their matches because they were favourites to they're favourites for most World Cups, but particularly they thought they were going to win on home soil. But they didn't play well throughout that tournament at all. Because I remember they had very, very lucky to have beaten Chile, very lucky to have beaten Colombia before then. I think 7-1 was flattering to Germany, but I just think it was just one of those games where I think Germany got 2 quick goals very early on. I think panic set in, and then the match was over, and it was just a free-for-all for Germany. But I agree with what Craig said. They've got a much stronger side this time with everything. And, of course, apart from their strength, they've got their own personal Jesus who will who could be the threaten Griezmann for the Golden Boot. So, no, Brazil, excellent chance of lifting it again.
Was that a Depeche Mode reference? There?
It was, yes. Yeah, I was expecting laughter when I said that, but it didn't happen. Sorry.
I was just trying to remember who sung it. It went out my head for some reason.
So there you go then. Sorry, did we agree on Brazil and you don't like Switzerland?
I've gone with Brazil and Serbia.
I like Switzerland, yes.
Yeah, you take that. Okay. Right then, let's have a look at Group F. Group F now then. Germany, Mexico, Sweden and South Korea.
Yes, I think this could actually be a very good group. I think that we could have some exciting matches in this one. I will say South Korea, because I remember when they first started qualifying for World Cups, they used to be sort of the whipping boys, but then they really improved a lot and did very well when they hosted the
semi-finalists.
When they hosted it with Japan in 2002, but they seem to have gone a bit backwards a bit recently, and I don't think they'll be causing any major shocks. They've got, I think their star player is that Heung-min Son of Tottenham,
right?
But apart from that, I don't really know. Does Ji-sung Park still play? No, he doesn't. I don't really know.
Was he South Korean?
Yeah.
Or was he? Does he play at all anymore?
I can't remember where he went now. He may have retired. I'll have to look it up.
No, if he'd been Australian, he'd still be playing.
He would be, definitely.
Well, they can't have money to choose from, South Korea.
They've actually got quite a big population there.
But it's a big footballing nation.
It is. Oh, it's massive.
But
South Korea.
I just think they're on the decline a bit. So looking at the other three teams, for me, Germany are definitely the strongest. I'd be surprised if they didn't win the group. Their World Cup record is absolutely phenomenal. I think they've reached every quarter-final since probably from 1982 onwards. Is that probably about right?
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah,
well, the thing is that they had odd group systems prior to 82, but I think that they've always been there and thereabouts. I think you'll have to go back to probably 62 before when they had a bad World Cup.
You know, their record's absolutely unbelievable. I think they always just qualify from their group with unbelievable ease. You know, I can remember seeing an interview a few years ago with Boris Becker, obviously the tennis player, but he's a big football fan, and he said he always used to laugh how people get very tense and nervous in England about the group games and, are we going to pick up a point here or we need to win?
Yeah.
And he said most people in Germany, they're not even concerned about the group stages whatsoever. They said, we only really start getting interested when it gets to the knockout stages. And I think, for me, they are very, very strong this year. You know, they've even been able to leave out players like Sane of Manchester City, who's been outstanding in the Premier League this season.
Yeah.
And there was no room for him in the squad. It was a bit of a shock. Well, if they can leave him out, you know, they must have a good squad. So I think Germany, you know, it is stating the obvious a bit, but I think they should win the group. And for me, I think it would be very close between Mexico and Sweden on who gets that second place. And I think, Mexico and Sweden play each other in the final game. I think that could be a sort of winner-takes-all game. But I'm actually going to go for Mexico because they always seem to qualify into the knockout stages. And there was rumours that Ibrahimovic wanted to return to Sweden, but I don't think the manager was too happy with him trying to stake a claim in the squad after retiring. So I'm going to go for Germany and Mexico. I think Germany will win the group quite easily.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. Very, very strong Germans. I don't think they're as strong as what they were 4 years ago, but Germany always do it. Like, I can think of past World Cups where Germany have had abysmal sides, and I'm not exaggerating, abysmal sides where, again, they've been in the in the group stages. Their nearest rival in that group will have hammered them in the opening matches, and Germany just sneak in second place to the next round, and all of a sudden the draw just seems to open up for them. They find themselves in the semi-finals, and so it doesn't matter where you put Germany, they'll find a way to the last eight, probably last four, if not better. So, but this is a good German side, so they'll walk this group. Agree with you about South Korea, even a big football nation, but they haven't really. The last 15 years they've been on decline, and looking at their qualifying, I see no reason for them to be any threat in this group. Mexico, Sweden's interesting. Sweden, I think were very fortunate to qualify. I don't think this is the strongest Swedish side we've ever seen. Mexico looks steady, and again, Mexico, phenomenal record. They always get out of the group stages, and even though conditions Russia will be closer to home for Sweden, which might help them a little bit. And I wouldn't rule out Sweden nicking second spot, but for me, I'm going to have to go for Mexico. So Germany, Mexico for me.
Germany, Mexico as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
well, we're agreeing again.
We're back to agreeing now.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, then. Fantastic. Well, that's Group F taken care of for now. We'll have a little break for a second because we've had a little request for a bit of Daria G. Oh, man. Wasn't he in the Eurovision Song Contest?
I think he might have been one, yeah.
You're listening to the Stage and Screen Show, special show today. We're having a little preview of the up-and-coming World Cup, 2018's World Cup, of course. And if you've got anything you want to say about it, get in contact with me. Go ahead. Andy Snowden at Calon FM, Stage and Screen on the old Facebook. That's how you do it. That's how it's done. Andy Snowden at Calon FM, Stage and Screen. And get a song played, just like this young man. This is actually for Steve Breeze. Stevie Breeze, you remember him? He was in the studio about 3 hours ago. This is for Steve Breeze, and you remember this. This is Daria G. Is he called Daria G, or is the tune called Daria G?
Well, that's him. I think it's called
Carnival
de Paris.
There they are. Okay, this is for Stevie Breeze. Enjoy this.
Uniting our community on 105 FM. Calon FM.
So there you go. That's a bit of a tune, isn't it? That's Stevie Breeze there. That's Daria G and Carnival de Paris. Marvellous. And so Steve actually gave us a little bit of trivia here, gents. You might be interested. He said, did you know that in the last 2 World Cups, the reigning champions didn't get out of the group stages?
Well, that's not going to happen this time because Germany are just head and shoulders.
You never know, though, Rob.
But then again, we were just saying off air that you do get that every World Cup where one of the major teams just completely bombs. Now, obviously, we've been bragging up some of the bigger teams, and I'll stick by my predictions. But I wouldn't be surprised if just one of them, something goes wrong, that there are punch-ups on the training pitch, arguments with the manager, and then they just lose every match, and then they go home in disgrace. It seems to happen to one big team every tournament, but which team that will be, I don't know, but it's bound to happen somewhere.
Yeah,
it's an interesting fact that about the reigning champions, and it's happened a few times in previous World Cups as well. And I don't think we've had a team defend the World Cup. When was we're going back?
Oh, we've gone back a long time. I think it was Brazil 58 and 62.
Yeah. It's very unusual that a team wins 2 World Cup tournaments on the trot.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if Germany followed the trend of not getting out of the group, but you do never know. As I said, funny things can happen.
Exactly. Okay, then, here's the big one, ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys. Group G, of course, is Belgium and Panama, Tunisia, and the winners, England.
Right, very good. Now, for me, this is probably the most uninteresting group of the 8. God, where do I start? I'll take it objectively. For me, the best team by a mile in this group on paper are Belgium. Belgium should walk this group, and they could do, but you never know with them. Belgium, so much talent, but they just don't perform at the biggest stage, not to their potential. And it's because I remember they were managed many years by Mark Wilmots, and I remember Belgium was so lacklustre at the Euros that somebody made a comment saying they'd be better off being managed by Gary Wilmots rather than, than Mark Wilmots. But then again, they have got their own joker in now. They've got on. They've got Roberto Martinez managing them. So what will happen with them? We shall see. So Belgium should, despite even if they are lacklustre, they should top the group because they're by far the best side. So I'd confidently predict them as group winners, but you never know with them. The other side, England. I've got to admit, looking at their squad, this is the worst England squad I have ever seen ever at any major tournament. And but despite that, I still think they probably will qualify. But then again, they've got their challenges. Tunisia, probably one of the strongest African sides. That's going to be a very, very tight match. For it. And if England win against Tunisia, then I think they deserve a massive round of applause. And if they don't, I think it'd be wrong just to start slating them, saying, "Oh, you can't even beat Tunisia." Tunisia aren't a bad side, so it's going to be close. And even Panama, I suspect Panama will come bottom of the group, but I don't think they'll be whipping boys. I don't think they'll win a match, but they could nick points off the other three. So they are a dangerous side in that extent. So my prediction's going to be, I suspect Belgium to win, but I think England will get second spot narrowly from Tunisia. And with Panama, an honourable fourth.
Very honourable fourth.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I think talking about England first, we haven't had the usual hype in the press this time about, if England, they've got the players to do it. I think finally there's been a bit of a realisation that they're, compared to some other teams in the world, they're a bit far off that mark.
Yeah.
England have got some good individual players, but their record in tournaments, especially recently, has just been absolutely disastrous. And I don't know what you can put it down to. Some people say, they're sort of all overpaid individuals who've got no pride in the nation. I'm not so sure about that. I'm sure all the players are quite passionate about playing for England. I just think it's a case of a lot of the players, week in, week out for their clubs, they're playing with better players from different countries. But when they obviously get together, they haven't got those to rely on. But they have got some good players. I think the draw they had in this group, they were extremely fortunate. They could have been pitted against. Looking at some of the groups they could have been in, it would have been a lot more difficult. And for that, even though England have done, had some shocking results in the past, I would be surprised if they didn't make it through the group. And I think the difficult part comes in those knockout games when they will come up against, better and more fancied sides. I do agree with Rob. Belgium on paper, you look at their team, they've got so many good players. You've got De Bruyne, Lukaku,
Hazard,
Eden Hazard, even people who don't play in the Premiership like Mertens and
Witsel
and Alex Witsel, Axel or Alex, whatever it is. But Belgium, for me, I don't know. They always, I was amazed when Wales beat them in the Euros, but lots of people seem to tip them for every tournament. But there's just something about them in terms of them going far in the tournament. You'd think that they would have a good chance, but for me, there's just, I don't know, there's a lack of something which I don't know what it is. I think, again, I would hope to see Belgium do well. I do think that they'll both qualify. The other two teams, Tunisia and Panama, or as I've been requested to say, Tunisia and Panama, which is how the game will be billed on US television. Tunisia are actually, I haven't seen a lot of them, but they are actually quite highly rated from the African teams. And with England playing them first, it might not be a walk in the park for England. I actually think it'll be a very tight game. But I think England, they've really got to be looking at beating Tunisia and Panama. If they can win those first two opening games, then they can perhaps relax against Belgium, which is their final game. But the England team, they never ever do anything easy. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if in that opening game against Tunisia they drew or even got beaten it. I know it would be a bit of a shock, but I can almost see it now. But I'll go for Belgium and England to go through.
Yeah. Now, every time England go on a World Cup venture or a European venture, you've always got people going, "Oh, good! This is a good sign," because last time they won, they were playing in red or something, or their opponents were in yellow or anything like that.
They cling on to anything that when they played well.
Yeah. Now, my theory, and I've always laughed at those sort of things, but I've got a theory that in 1990 we were slated England was slated in the press, right? 1996 they were slated in the press before the tournament, and both times they reached the semi-final. Yeah. Every time the press say, "Oh, this is our year," they always come away with their tails between their legs, with enough time to go on holiday with their wives before the tournament, before the Premiership starts again. I don't know if it's just me being.
Yeah, I think it's just being you.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, the thing is, I can see examples because I've been watching the History Channel this past week and watching documentaries like his One Night in Turin. And the build-up to Italian 90 was atrocious. No side in their right mind would want to build up to a tournament like that. And you'd have thought after everything England went through, they would have lost all three games and come home to be pelted with vegetables. But they actually ended up going to the semi-finals. So again, writing them off could be beneficial to England. But I seem to remember there was a lull about their chances 4 years ago, and they were proven right. So you just don't know. But then again, I don't think there's any pressure on England. But if they do struggle in the tournament, I'm not just saying playing badly, but they're just beaten by better teams. I do think they'll be whinging at when they do go out, as is always. So I think that it's highly likely Gareth Southgate will be looking for another job. Whether it's his fault or not, come the end of the tournament.
Yeah, I do think, like looking at the England squad, I agree with what Rob said. Yeah, they've had much better players in squads in the past and failed. I can remember times they were arguing over the likes of, we shouldn't play. People were saying they shouldn't play Gerrard or Lampard together.
Yeah,
and you had players like, Paul, should we play Paul Scholes? And like you look at the team now, and in terms of what you would call world stars, there's probably only, I would say, Harry Kane, who over the last few seasons has done really well and probably would be classed as one of Europe's best players. As I said, England have got good players, but not, excellent ones. I think if you look at some of the other squads like the Brazil and Germany squads, how many England players will actually get into those squads? Probably only one or two at most, unfortunately. But you just don't know. I think some people are saying, because the pressure's off, they'll do better. But as we said, I think it will all come down in the end to how good they are on the field. But the way the tournament goes, if they did get through to the quarterfinals, they'll be playing either Germany or Brazil. And should they get that far, I've got a feeling that's where their tournament might come to the end.
Yeah. But funny you said about the Turin, One Night in Turin. I watched that last night.
Yeah.
And Lineker, just to clarify your point, Lineker was worried about getting a game, and he scored nearly every match.
Yes.
Oh yeah, there was
Why was you worried? You'd have thought there'd be some confidence somewhere.
No, there was no confidence really in any of the side. And I remember Robson chopped and changed his team, and it worked in the tournament. He got rid of Gary Stevens and brought in Paul Parker. The injury to Brian Robson brought in David Platt. He brought in Mark Wright as a sweeper, changed the system, and it worked. And it was. So basically, by making very, very late changes to the way England played, paid dividends. So Italia 90, England were awesome in that tournament, and you can't knock them at all. But one World Cup where people say England have bottled it every World Cup since. I think you've got to pay tribute to the England side from 2002. I thought they were magnificent. I didn't think they put a foot wrong. They got to the quarterfinals and they ran Brazil very close. They were beaten by a marginally better side who went on and won the World Cup that year. So fair play to England 2002. I don't think you can fault what they did in that World Cup. And it's just a shame they met Brazil in the quarterfinals and not later on in the tournament.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Brilliant. All right, well, that's Group G. And finally then, just before the news, now I love my football, as you know, but I don't know anything about any of these. Colombia, Japan, Poland and Senegal.
It's probably, I think most people are saying it's the weakest group on paper. But I also, even though it is probably the weakest, because I think Poland, the seeds in this group, Rob?
No, is it Poland or is it Colombia? I couldn't tell you. It might be Colombia.
Right. But I actually think it will be the closest group, as in, I think all of them have actually got a chance. I don't know a great deal about a lot of the teams, but in the Senegal side, they've got a lot of players from the who are currently playing in the Premier League. You've got Sadio Mane of Liverpool for one. He's probably regarded as their best player they've got at the moment. Colombia have got some very good players too. Like they've got, I remember in the last World Cup it was James Rodriguez. Did they get to the quarterfinals last? I think they did last time.
Colombia, they're knocked out by Brazil.
That was right, and quite unlucky too. They
very unlucky. I thought that the on the balance they were the better side in that match.
Yeah, and the Poland, they've got some good players. They rely a lot on their main front man, Lewandowski of Bayern Munich, who I actually think is a superb player. And as for Japan, I don't really know a lot about them anymore. They don't think they've got any players playing in the Premier League, have they, Japan? No.
I can't think of it.
No.
What's his name from Leicester?
What's his name? Okazaki.
Okazaki, yeah.
Of course, they've got Okazaki. But I actually think it's one of those groups you just look at it and you think, there doesn't look anything exciting in there. But I actually think it could be actually quite a close group. For me, I actually think the two that will go through are Senegal and Colombia. I think Senegal are, for me, one of the strongest African teams, and they do seem to have some quite good players. But they have also got Mama Biram Diouf of Stoke. I forgot about that. But I think they've got a good squad. And Colombia as well. They qualified very well from the South American qualification league. Yet Poland, even though I think Poland are the favourites with the bookies in this group, I've just got my doubts about them. They seem to have a few ageing. Their best players seem to be ageing a bit. So I'm going to go for Poland and Japan to go out. So for me, it's Senegal and Colombia, but I could be completely wrong, obviously.
Right. For me, this group's about two teams and two teams only, and that's Poland and Colombia. I like both teams a lot. I think Poland are a very well organised side. I agree with you say, Lewandowski. Have I got that pronunciation? Lewandowski. Whenever I try, I always get the pronunciation wrong. Yeah, one of Europe's best strikers, and again, a possible candidate for the Golden Boot. I thought they were a very solid unit in Euro 2016, and I think that should see them just pip Colombia for the top spot in the group. But Colombia, very, very good side. A lot of talent with James Rodriguez, Falcao's still around. But the other two, I think Senegal, again, got some good players, but like with Nigeria, I think they lack consistency in organisation. And Japan, I think similar comments to... I just think Asian football is not as its strongest at the moment. So it could be the other way around, Poland, Colombia. But I think those two, I'd be very surprised if those two don't both progress. So Poland, Colombia for me.
Poland and Colombia, and you go...
I've gone for Senegal and Colombia.
Senegal and Colombia. It's an odd one, isn't it? I mean, but it'll probably end up being the most exciting group.
I agree. I think it's
one of those things.
A very interesting group.
God, we'll come back and go, Senegal, they're good, aren't they?
Well, that's what happened in 2002. They beat France in the opening match.
Oh, yeah. They did indeed.
Yeah. All right, fantastic. Right, that's all the groups taken care of. And so when we come back after the news, girls and boys, we're going to be hearing from John Lydon, the frontman, of course, with the Sex Pistols and the Pill. And he's going to be coming to, Wrexham on the 24th of June. We're going to go to the news, and we'll see you back after 2. See you in a bit. So welcome back to the third and final hour of Andy Snowden with music of stage and screen. That's what this show is. There you go, that's New Order World in Motion for the 1990 World Cup for England. Oh, we're playing for England, boys.
Great song.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were going to sing. I was giving you the opportunity to sing on the radio, and what you do?
I'd never
you
be allowed,
mumble.
You've got to hold and give and do it at the right time. No, John Barnes, a music legend.
You're a natural.
Look at that. Brilliant, man. Straight in. Marvellous. So anyway, this is the Stage and Screen show, as I say, and today we've been having a preview of all the World Cup matches that are kicking off on Thursday, and we can't wait. None of us can wait for it. Brilliant. If it could happen now, that'd be marvellous. Thank you very much. And weirdly, we were talking yesterday, trying to think of something to do personally, and I thought it'd be quite nice if we had a little look back on our favourite World Cup moments from all the World Cups that have ever been. And so before we get the lads to give us their prediction to who's going to actually win the damn thing, we're going to have a little look back at our top three, one each, favourite moments, and we'll start with you, Rob. This is yours. We'll play it first, and then you can tell us why you love it so much. Here it is.
Miller has that lovely silky turn, and now he's made a chance and scored a goal. Now the drama of the World Cup begins to unfold. Colombia facing 12 minutes from the end of their hopes. And Higuita's got himself into trouble, and it is no surprise. 2 more goals for Miller, and this time the shimmy at the opposite corner flag.
So, there you go. That's yours.
Yeah, there's been many amazing moments of the World Cup, but that's one which will always stick in my mind for many, many reasons. It was really about 2 characters in the game. There's Roger Miller, Cameroonian legend. He was a great striker in the 70s for them, but he was in the squad for 1990, and he came on to be their super sub, and he scored 4 goals in the whole tour, 2 against Romania, and then he scored 2 against Colombia at the age of 42. Just think now, he's 70 now, so that's incredible to think about. But what I love, the second goal against Colombia, the other character was their goalkeeper, Higuita. I don't know if people remember. People often remember for that spider kick he did in a friendly against England at Wembley.
Yeah, was that him?
Yeah, it was him. Yeah,
Scorpion.
Yeah, scorpion kick. Yeah,
Scorpion,
they're
spider.
both arachnids.
Yes,
arachnids.
But the thing is with Higuita, he was an unusual goalkeeper. He'd take their penalties for the Colombian national side, and but he was also given the role of sweeper-keeper. So he'd often come out and play the role of sweeper as well. Now, what was unusual about that, he came out of his goal, he passed it to his right-back, and his right-back had so much confidence in it, he passed it back to him, and Roger Miller came charging him, tackled Higuita, and all of a sudden... Roger Miller, must have been about 30 yards out, but he just took the ball to an open goal and just threaded it in, and then went to the corner flag and did his famous dance. And I just thought that Higuita thought he was so clever, being I'm the sweeper keeper, I'm cool, I do things differently. But he really had egg on his face that day. So again, a very, very funny moment from what, in my opinion, is my favourite World Cup of all time, Italia '90. Great memories at the time. I remember it was a glorious summer, blue skies every day, and I've witnessed lots of World Cups since, but that's the World Cup I remember most, even today. That's the one which is clearest in my mind. So happy memories.
Yeah, brilliant. I liked it. Yeah, I liked that as well because I had to dig it out yesterday, and the only thing I could find, all the commentary was in a foreign language. I thought that's not going to be very good for the old for the radio, but it's the dance. It's the dance that everybody remembers. That's jiggle jiggle. Rob's doing the dance, and you can't see it. What a shame. I'll video it. I'll stick it on Facebook. Okay, go on then, Craig. We'll have yours, and then you can explain exactly what's going on here. Oh no! Look what I've done. I've pressed it and I haven't done the doodah. Let me do it again. I'll stick that up. There we go. Professional as you like. Here we go. This is Craig's.
Ronaldo, Pele, Jez. Oh, this is great stuff. They need to take it in turns to give an exhibition. Jairzinho, number 7, Pele. Up comes Calon Alberto on the right. And it's 4! Oh, that was sheer delightful football.
So there you go. Not the best sounding commentary, but tell us what was going on there.
No, yeah, I think they used to do the commentary down a telephone in those days when it was in foreign countries. When you asked what's my favourite World Cup moment, as Rob said, there are many. So I would have been just thinking for ages, but I remember this actual moment is from a World Cup before I was born, so I didn't see it live. It's from the World Cup in Mexico in 1970, and I remember, as a youngster, my dad always saying, because I always used to say, who's the best football team you've ever seen? And he said, in terms of the best international team he's ever seen, it was definitely that Brazil side of 1970. And I was always fascinated when I was younger with Brazilian football. And I remember being bought a video for my birthday called The Boys from Brazil.
Yeah.
And I used to watch it on, I think it might have been Betamax, I'm not so sure. But it was watching the highlights of Brazil in that World Cup. It was some of the football, obviously. Pele played for them then, that was his last World Cup. But he also had other stars, and that particular moment was the final goal in the final against Italy. It was actually scored by their captain Carlos Alberto, and I think it is one of my favourite goals of all time. Purely, I think most of the players in the team get a touch of the ball in the build-up, and it's just a absolutely fantastic goal, and I love the commentary that goes with it as well. When he just says it's sheer delightful football, which it was, and I think, it's just a memorable moment that often gets replayed every time a World Cup comes around. I'm sure we'll be getting to see it on the montages that BBC and ITV will be doing over the next few weeks.
Yeah. It seemed to be a lot of those days that it was only the continental teams that did it. There'd be like 9 or 10 passes.
Yeah.
Nobody else would get a touch of the ball, and then they'd score, and you'd go, oh, well, you might as well forget it. You might as well go home.
Yeah,
that's
they
the way
were
you're
a
going
great
to be.
side from 97, and I concur, that was an awesome goal. Particularly, it was fitting that Carlos Alberto led that great side so well had the final say in that whole World Cup. And the speed, I reckon if they timed him, he probably would have done the 100 metres in under 9 seconds, because he ran the whole length of the field and he just blasted that ball, didn't even look where it was going, and he just went straight in the back of the net. Super, and a fitting way to end that World Cup.
Yeah, brilliant. So there's a goal that took like 9 passes. My choice took 1 pass, and then this happened.
Almost getting away with a bit. Ince spotted that danger in a flash and finds Beckham. Beckham now to Owen, and here's another Owen run. He's going to worry them again. It's a great run by Michael Owen, and he might finish it off. Oh, it's a wonderful goal! What an amazing moment in Michael Owen's young career. A fantastic run that frightened the Argentinians, and a most unerring finish beyond Roa to make it 2-1 England. A terrific moment. Well, you just don't do this.
I think Kevin Keegan at the end. You just don't do that. not to Argentina. You're not. You're not allowed. I was saying to you before, wasn't I? I think I can admit now publicly that I was doing Blood Brothers at the time in London, and I didn't actually skive the night. The night before, I went into work and I wasn't very well, so they let me go home. So the following night was the England-Argentina match, which was great because I can legitimately. It sounded legit when I could have gone in.
Yeah, that was very diplomatically put.
So you decided to do the 2 days off sick to make it look more convincing. And England v Argentina just happened to be on.
Yeah. I thought it sounded good until I went in the following day and everyone went, all right, I can see what you did there. But anyway, of course, it was Michael Owen's wonder goal, they called it. The wonder goal against Argentina. And it was, I mean, at the time, another one of them like Belgium matches. I was like, this is astonishing.
Yeah, it was, particularly for a player so young, because there've probably been arguably better goals. Like you think of Diego Maradona against England in '86, not the hand one, but the other one.
Yeah.
Roberto Baggio in Italia '90 against Czechoslovakia, awesome goal, awesome skill. But for Michael Owen, who was he was only 18 at the time, to do that was awesome, and basically his life would never ever be the same again. But I will say this about Michael Owen, he hasn't really forgotten his roots, because I actually saw him a few weeks ago. I was boarding a Ryanair flight from Liverpool to Dublin, and he was on it.
Oh, right.
Yep, so...
Did you say hello?
Not really, no, he was too busy talking to his agent. I didn't want to disturb him, but yeah, it just goes to show, and memorable moments, and also great commentary from the late Brian Moore as well.
Yeah. I mean, it was. Because now you see goals like that scored and you go, oh, only Ronaldo could do that, or only Maradona could do that. And then you sort of think, well, actually, Michael Owen did that. And not only did he do it, he did it against Argentina. Maradona did it, but it was against England. So not that odd. But to do it against Argentina, who hadn't let a goal in for that whole tournament at that point, apart from the penalty.
No, that's it. It was an absolutely cracking match. That one, I always remember. England were a bit unlucky. Obviously, the Owen goal gets overshadowed a bit by the David Beckham getting sent off.
Yeah,
which always seems to get replayed when people talk about that match. And many people say, no, Beckham cost England that match. He made them because even with 10 men in that match, I remember England played actually quite well.
They were very good, yeah, and it was...
well, didn't England score? They scored. Sol Campbell scored.
Sol Campbell, it was disallowed, and I'll never know... Well, apparently because of a foul from Shearer. Shearer knocked the keeper, and then the ball came to Campbell, and they disallowed it. And no, that was so cruel. And even though, obviously, I wasn't a fan of David Beckham 20 years ago, because, again, maybe a bit of tribalism from my point of view, but looking back, that sending off was harsh. I know Diego Simeone is a very shy, retiring person who wouldn't dream of causing any trouble at all. But no, it was still harsh all the same.
Yeah. I remember thinking it was a bit poxy to send him off.
It was one of that.
Yellow, at least.
It was one of them. I just think I remember he was a bit stupid, but it did probably spoil the chance England had in that match. So,
yeah, and I think that goes on to the bigger question, because I always remember the 2010 World Cup final where Howard Webb brought a brand new type of refereeing in. Because the thing is, when you get a match where a player gets sent off, it changes it ruins the match. Yeah. But Howard Webb was saying, right, doesn't matter what anyone does, no, we're going to finish this 11v11. And Holland in that match, they call Holland total the fans of Total Football. That was more like total thuggery in that match.
I remember that. Were the people like doing flying kicks?
Yeah. Oh god, it was more like kung fu than football.
Yeah. It's an amazing bit of footage, isn't it? Watching that.
Yeah.
I can't believe it even.
I know.
Even when, like, back in the days when you're allowed to foul, not nowadays. Yeah. You're not allowed to brush past somebody. You're not allowed to, you know. When you look at what's he called, the Real Madrid manager who's just left?
Oh, Zidane.
Yeah, that headbutt.
Oh yeah.
And it's because he said something about his mum, and you go, am I hearing things? Are we in school? It was amazing. Yeah. Anyway, brilliant. Right, we'll have a little bit of this, and then we'll come back, and I'm going to ask the lads for their predictions on who is going to win this year's World Cup. Ooh, sighting.
Uniting our community on 105 FM. Calon FM.
The greatest rock band on God's earth. Status Quo there. Status Quo. Rocking all over the world. Played at many a football occasion these days. Usually at the end of the FA Cup. But they played it at the end of the what was the LDV Vans?
LDV Vans Trophy again when Wrexham won it in 2005 in Cardiff. That was then, yeah. The new Wembley hadn't been built, so it was a good atmosphere. I remember that match. It was a much better atmosphere than when Wrexham have played at Wembley since. No, I remember them playing it at the end, actually.
It makes you wonder how fast they put Wembley up, because it always seemed to take on forever. And then when you look back and think, well, there was only like 3 or 4 FA Cups there.
No, it was about I think there were 6 FA Cups there.
Oh, was there?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's still quite fast to put a stadium up that size.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Not overly keen on the new Wembley, to be honest with you.
No,
if I want to be all sort of about it, I think they should have kept the Twin Towers. Build round it. You know what I mean? Put a new stadium up, but keep the Twin Towers, or the look at least.
Yeah, definitely.
So, you're listening to Andy Snowden, ladies and gentlemen, and today we have had a preview of the 8 groups that are going to be in for this year's World Cup, about to kick off this Thursday, the 14th of June. All starts. First match is at 4 o'clock, so presumably, what is it, on the BBC? That's on both. BBC and ITV, the first match.
Oh, is there?
Is it? Oh, right.
There's a question. BBC or ITV?
Oh, BBC,
always
definitely.
BBC.
Always BBC.
I've never really liked it.
It's I like bits of ITV, but no, it's BBC. You have to. It's just tradition.
Yeah.
I've always preferred that. I've never really liked sport on ITV, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm a traditional BBC man.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, it's the adverts for me. Can't we?
Yeah,
does my nutting when they go to the adverts on Sky Sports. Yeah. The teams come out and everyone goes ooh, and then they go, we'll be back after this. And you go, no, don't go anywhere. I want to watch everything. So anyway, before the lads leave us, and we hear from Johnny Rotten, of course, from the Sex Pistols. I had a bit of a chinwag with him midweek, as the Pill are coming to Wrexham at the end of this month. So I shall bring you that interview in about 10 minutes, straight after we hear from the hostess with the mostess. Who wants to go first? Who is going to take away the what's it called? The World Cup now? Has it got a name?
Yeah, no, it's the World Cup, the FIFA World Cup.
It's not called because it was called Jules René.
Oh, the trophy. Oh, yeah, because it used to be the Jules.
Yeah, but this one doesn't have a name. It's just the World Cup.
Stuart.
Stuart. Okay, we'll call it Stuart. Yeah, the Stuart World Cup. Yeah. Yeah, so,
Go on, Rob.
Okay, my predictions are going to be, my tip to win is going to be France. I don't think there's a lot between them and possibly Brazil, but I do feel that even though we had Germany winning in South America last time and Brazil winning in 1958, normally if it's in Europe, it's going to be a European team. So I'm going to go for France, but I do fear Brazil and I do fear Germany, so it's going to be one of those three. There's a long shot that if Belgium got their act together, they could win, but I can't see it. But it's going to be either Brazil, Germany, or my tips, France. But in the words of your next guest, Johnny Lydon, I could be wrong, but I could be right.
Oh, I don't know what you want to say there.
Yeah, when you said in the words of John Lydon, could have been anything.
No. Do you mind? I'm a respectable man.
Hey, Deputy Mayor.
Exactly.
Soon to be the Mayor.
My life passed before me then.
Understudy. Oh, anyway, go
on. Yes, for me, I think really one of the fancied sides would win it. I don't think it'll be a World Cup that produces a shock winner. We get shock winners in the Euros, but very, very rarely in a World Cup. The good teams always come to the fore, and so for me, I do think it's going to be either one of the two favourites. That's Brazil or Germany to win. I've predicted both of those will get to the final, and for me, either of those can win. I do think France and Spain have also got a potential chance. But in picking one team, I'm just going to go for Brazil. If it is a Brazil-Germany final, it gives Brazil a chance to get revenge of their humiliation 4 years ago. I do like the look of the Brazilian squad this time, and I've always, as I said before, I've always really liked them. So for me, I'm going to go for Brazil, but I think it'll be either them or Germany.
Right. Okay. So you're going France.
France for me.
You're going Brazil.
Brazil.
Yeah.
I better go for
Panama. You never know.
But
you have to go for Germany.
I'll have to go for Germany, won't I? Okay, lads, it's been a pleasure to have you.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much for having us, Andy.
It's, as always, unfortunately, I'm not going to be around when the final's on, so we can't do our reprise of the World Cup. But if you want to, when I come back, we can have a chinwag about that or anything you fancy doing. Anytime you want to come on the show, you're more than welcome to.
Definitely, enjoyed it.
Absolutely brilliant. Thanks for coming in, lads.
No, thank you.
Been an absolute pleasure.
And enjoy the World Cup, everyone.
Yes, indeedy weedy lemon squeezy. So there you go. That is Deputy Mayor of Wrexham, Rob Walsh, and you'll probably see him at many of the events taking place around Wrexham over the next 12 months or so. And Craig Jones, go to the racecourse on a Saturday afternoon. You can't miss him. Usually streaking across the pitch. Enjoy the World Cup, lads.
Thank you very much, Andy.
Take it easy on yourselves.
Cheers.
Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, straight after this we're going to hear from Mr. Johnny Rotten himself, John Lydon. Brace yourselves.
Uniting our community on 105 FM. Calon FM.